over the suburbs, also part of Vinales now. So how's the government trying to frame towards a clear picture?
Very warm welcome to Amishakil 5858. I am Ahmed Shaker. Following are the latest news headlines which have been reported by American, European, Canadian, Asian, African and Australian news channels and all other news agencies. So please, let's go to the news.
Tonight, several developing stories as we come on the air. Severe storms firing up right now from the Carolinas to New England. Car prices going up as new tariffs kick in. And breaking news, a small plane crashing in a Southern California neighborhood. Late details just coming in. First, the potentially dangerous storms. More than 25 million Americans on alert tonight for severe weather. From South Carolina all the way to Maine. Hail, wind, and pounding rain in the forecast. The Northeast bracing for days of wet weather. Our weather team timing it all out. A possible break in the trade war. China signaling it's open to negotiations with the U.S. over the crushing tariffs. This comes as a new tariff on auto parts takes effect, raising fears of a big price hike for new and used cars. President Trump downplaying the short-term effects of the tariffs as some companies scramble to reroute how they ship goods around the world. The announcement that stunned Berkshire Hathaway shareholders. Legendary investor Warren Buffett, now 94, planning to step down as head of the company that he turned into a trillion-dollar conglomerate. Buffett's warning about tariffs and who he wants to replace him. Also tonight, travel plans disrupted. The staffing problems at one of the busiest airports in the Northeast. Flights canceled and delayed, passengers missing their connections. An Ohio man charged with aggravated murder for allegedly running down a deputy. Police calling it a calculated attack. The suspect is the father of a teenager shot and killed by an officer one day earlier. Could the SpaceX headquarters become a new city? The vote that could change a tiny Texas town. A dramatic rescue in the Amazon. 5 people pulled to safety after being stuck in an Amazon swamp filled with alligators. And America Strong tonight, some of the top figures in sports, including our own Michael Strahan, teaming up in the fight against pediatric cancer.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York.
The only thing anyone can talk about, whether it's the MAGA faithful or the press who is hateful, is the first 100 days of the second Trump term. There's only one person we can talk to about this. Of course, he is the anchor of Special Report on the Fox News Channel, nightly at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 in the West. He also has a phenomenal podcast, the Bret Baier Podcast, which you have to download and listen to right now. So let's get into trade, foreign investment, and Elon. Bret Baier, welcome back to Kennedy Saves the World. The 100-day mark actually, I think, happened at day 20 because so much happened so quickly. Was there a risk for this administration getting so much done so early? And did that leave too much room for people to frame the breakneck speed of the second term negatively?
I mean, that's a good framing of it. I mean, it was shock and awe off the top, and they had been working on that rollout of executive orders, more than 100 of them in the first couple of weeks for a long time. So there was a lot that was happening. I think what really has transpired is not so much the quickness, but the slowdown of getting a trade deal on the books, like finished. There's a lot that are pending that we think in coming days are going to get across the finish line. Maybe India, maybe South Korea, Japan. And those blueprints of how that looks, and taking down tariffs and changing trade barriers and specific products, what that looks like in the individual countries is going to tell a lot to the markets, to companies, and I think may take some jitters away that are very present in this whole tariff back and forth. So I really think that part of the equation had hurt their 100-day rollout. Listen, a lot of this is going to be dependent on how that goes, and then how the big, beautiful bill up on Capitol Hill goes. That's the growth agenda, the tax cuts, deregulation, and that part of it.
On this
Saturday night, the high-stakes search for two missing children in Nova Scotia. The search and rescue operation in Pictou County for 4- and 6-year-old siblings.
Our priority is to get these kids home safe.
Prices are going to go up. And when prices go up, sales slump.
The impact of Trump's auto parts tariffs on the cost of your next car, even as Canada dodges a bullet. Canadian Conservatives take stock of their electoral defeat, where this former top Tory pins the blame for missed opportunities.
There are going to be people on the federal team that will move on, which will remove the thorn.
Plus, honoring Canadian heroes.
What's this like? Overwhelming.
The legacy of Canada's commitment to the Netherlands on the 80th anniversary of its liberation from the Nazis.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Sarah McDonald.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. A desperate search is underway tonight in Nova Scotia. Two siblings, aged just 4 and 6, are believed to have wandered away from their home on Friday morning and haven't been seen since. Police dogs and helicopters have joined volunteers on the ground in Pictou County, that's northeast of Halifax. Global's Mitchell Bailey is there for us tonight.
I canceled my Midjourney subscription because this AI...
Tonight on PBS News Weekend. With 12 deaths this week, more children have died from the flu this season than at any other time in the last 15 years. Then, with hurricane season on the horizon, how staffing cuts and vacancies at the National Weather Service could affect life-saving warnings. And we visit a studio in Utah where budding artists with disabilities let their imagination soar.
I pretty much promise them, we'll get in there, we'll figure out what you can do, and I'll help make it happen.
Tonight, Warren Buffett shocks shareholders.
Time has arrived.
The legendary investor stepping down as CEO of Berkshire Hathaway at age 94 and a lifetime of success.
I'm Jolene Kent, and it is the end of an era. The investor known as the Oracle of Omaha suddenly announcing what's next for him and his company.
New tariffs on auto parts starting today. Vehicle prices expected to rise next, but the economy powering through. Also tonight, travel misery. What's behind the major delays at one of the country's largest airports?
I'm Allie Bauman at Newark Liberty International. It's been a week of hell for travelers here, why it's expected to get even worse.
Plus, royal reconciliation. Prince Harry goes public to plead his case.
I'm Raimi Decepcio at Buckingham Palace, where the royal household and the British people are reacting to Prince Harry's latest family revelation.
And later, it's no run for the roses, but at this legendary business, the bourbon is back.
I'm Nicole Skanga in Frankfort, Kentucky, as America's oldest running distillery races to reopen its stores after historic flooding, and just in time for the Kentucky Derby.
We have no plans to slow down.
Even with the water rising.
Oh, that water's just a speed bump.
This is the CBS Weekend News from New York.
Good morning and welcome back to France 24. You're watching Daybreak with me, Vedika Bahel. Here's our top world headlines this hour. Polls are open in Romania. The country is making its second attempt to elect a new president after the first vote was annulled due to allegations of campaign fraud, suspicious TikTok exploitation, and meddling from Russia. A theatrical performance, that's what Ukraine's president called Vladimir Putin's 3-day ceasefire proposal, dates that coincide with the 80th anniversary of the end of World War II. Our correspondent in Ukraine, Emmanuel Shaz, brings us the latest. And it's a little-known phenomenon in the sports world, but apparently more common than you'd think. After international sporting events, some athletes choose to try and seek refuge in that host country. France 24 brings you the story from Belgium. Thank you for joining us. We'll be starting this bulletin in Romania, where people are heading back to the polls nearly 6 months after the presidential election was unprecedentedly cancelled amidst accusations of Russian interference and suspicious TikTok use. Last time Romanians voted, the relatively unknown ultranationalist candidate
This is Asia Now.
Hello and good afternoon. It is 12 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 9:30 a.m. in New Delhi, 11 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Yasmin Yonkers at this hour. Singapore's Prime Minister Lawrence Wong celebrates a landslide win in his first electoral test as leader of the government. Supporters gather in various locations across the country as Mr. Wong hails what he's called a clear and strong mandate. Australia's Anthony Albanese and his Labour Party make a major comeback after trailing in polls, dealing a stunning defeat to the coalition. The re-elected Labour government making a commitment to protect Australia from the trade war, calling it the #1 priority.
We do not need to beg or borrow or copy from anywhere else. We do not seek our inspiration overseas. We find it right here, in our values and in our people.
And veteran investor Warren Buffett will retire as the CEO of Berkshire Hathaway, a conglomerate that he built up over the past 6 decades. And he's handing over the reins to Vice Chairman Greg Abel at the end of this year. Singapore's ruling People's Action Party has won a landslide victory with a resounding mandate for Prime Minister Lawrence. Hello, a very good morning. It's 6 o'clock. Coming up here today, still waiting for justice. Sky News finds the government's scrapped the compensation scheme for victims of child sexual abuse on cost grounds.
Also ahead this morning, 5 men are arrested on suspicion of preparing a terrorist attack.
And new doubt Max Verstappen recovers from 17th place in F1's sprint race to take pole position at today's Miami Grand Prix.
It's Sunday, the 4th of May. Sky News reveals the government's rowing back on a compensation scheme for victims of child sexual abuse. After their recent election success, Reform UK say they're beginning a campaign to remoralise young people. Police continue to question 14 children over the death of a 14-year-old boy in a fire at an industrial estate in Gateshead.
Yes, that's me.
Yes. The young lady that would have been here on the street.
Yes, waving my hat in the air.
A trip down memory lane. 98-year-old Ruth Bourne returns to the site of her VE Day celebrations in 1945.
And in the Premier League, Arsenal suffer a setback ahead of their Champions League semi-final against Paris Saint-Germain with a home defeat to Bournemouth.
Hello, very good morning, and thanks for joining us here on The Breakfast Show. Our top story today, Sky News has revealed that the government has rowed back on a compensation scheme for victims of child sexual abuse. Victoria's Anthony Albanese receives a warm welcome in his local electorate after Labour's landslide win.
Build that better and stronger future, Australians have chosen a majority Labor government.
The coalition confronts its worst ever defeat, with opposition leader Peter Dutton losing his own seat of Dixon.
We'll rebuild from here. We'll do that because we know our values, we know our beliefs, and we'll always stick to them.
More than a dozen seats still in play. We'll break down where each party currently stands. And ABC's election oracle, Anthony Green, makes his final call after a career spanning 3 decades and more than 90 Australian elections. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Catherine Robinson. Labor has been re-elected in a landslide and will govern with a majority after picking up several seats from the coalition. The Liberal Party is on the lookout for...
Labour MP Lucy Powell sparked outrage over her grooming gang's remarks.
The leader of the House faces calls to resign after dismissing the rape gang scandal as a dog whistle issue.
Well, that's been this morning. Labour still downplaying rape gangs.
After Reform UK forced a seismic shake-up of British politics, Chairman Azir Youssef sets out the party's mission to re-educate Britain.
Trump's tariff czar slams Britain as a servant to communist China and warns we risk being drained by Beijing.
And yes, a royal firestorm reignites Prince Harry's bombshell interview, triggers fresh outrage behind palace walls. Close allies of King Charles claim Harry's message of peace has come with veiled threats.
It's the start of a busy ceremonial season for the King Street Royal Horse Artillery, one of the most senior regiments in the British Army.
Our royal correspondent has been hearing about the VE Day preparations for one of the British Army's mounted units.
And Art Fit for a King coronation sketches commissioned by the monarch are unveiled ahead of the big state portrait reveal.
Good morning. Arsenal was stunned by Bournemouth at the Emirates. It means they're losing their grip on second place in the Premier League. Elsewhere, Jack Draper is in the Madrid Open final in tennis. There's the Miami Grand Prix, and 50-year-old Mark Williams faces snooker final destiny at the Crucible.
Still dominating our weather, keeping it largely dry, but a northerly breeze making it feel quite cool compared to what we've seen of late. Find out all the weather details coming up soon.
It's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Dawn Newsom, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Africa News. The news.
In the quiet town of Cactus, Texas, ICN migrants like Nicole and Eden Omentor are facing a new wave of fear and uncertainty. Both work long hours at JBS meat packing plant, home to 3,700 workers, many of them immigrants. CBP1 has sent out a message to everyone in this program to leave within the next 7 days. If I don't do so, they will deport me, or I will have to pay the fine. I don't commit crimes when I come into this country. The Biden-era immigration parole program allowed hundreds of thousands from Haiti, Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela to enter legally. But recent actions under Donald Trump's renewed crackdown have thrown those protections into question. I don't steal, I pay my bills, I follow all the rules, I respect the laws of this country, but I don't commit any crimes. But they are planning to take away my work permit. Although a federal judge has temporarily blocked enforcement of deportation notices, many like Nicole still live in fear of losing their jobs, homes, and work permits. You would consider going back to Haiti. The country is currently in a bad situation. You can't make a decision. You have no choice. You have no idea what you should do. For these workers, the uncertainty is not just legal, it's existential. With no clear path forward and no safe way back, their futures hang in limbo. Deep in Brazil's national forest, a young Amazonian manatee named Bakuri is becoming a symbol of both ecological fragility and hope. Rescued as an orphaned calf, weighing just 10 kilograms, Bakuri is now thriving thanks to a coalition of environmentalists and researchers working tirelessly to restore the species. These cows are orphaned cows. The mother was probably hunted and the calves are very vulnerable without their mother. So they need to be rescued and sent to a rehabilitation program. The fact is that the population has actually decreased so much that today every animal that is hunted has an impact on the population. The Amazonian manatee, once hunted for its hide and now threatened by climate change and illegal poaching, is listed as vulnerable by the IUCN. A very favorable moment for us to start conversation dialogues. There's no better way than doing it like this with children because they're going to be multipliers of this with their parents. Its greatest predator is not a jungle creature but humans. Predator is not a jungle creature but humans. His rehabilitation has taken years, requiring thousands of bottles of milk and a strict diet of chopped vegetables. The only predator of manatees is human beings. So we need the community to embrace this cause together with us and help take care of this new individual that will be there in its environment. Bakuri's care is shared by 3 institutions: the Emilio Museum, the Chico Mendes Institute for Biodiversity Conservation, and the Bichu Dagua Institute.
Thank you very much for giving time to Amir Shackle 5858. I am Amir Shackle. Have a good life. Bye-bye.